habit coupling, hand in hand.
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit Hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Hello and welcome to the Hopefulist. Thank you so much for joining me for your daily dose of inspiration and positivity. The quote of the day today is, understand that your gifts, talents, and desires were given to you because you are meant to thrive and share your you-ness with the world as only you can. Be yourself, people. Be yourself. People don't like you. That's their problem. Move along, mister. Move along, sister. It's all good. I wanted to talk a little bit about apologizing today. And if you feel you do it too much or not enough. And as expected, most people think that they do a little too much apologizing. Not only am I an over-apologizer, but I am a over-thanker as well. And I believe this probably comes back from my childhood where I felt like a bit of a nuisance to my mother. So I just always kind of had this feeling that I was bothering people. So whenever I feel like people are going out of their way for me, it makes me uncomfortable. So I'm like, I'm sorry you had to do that. I'm sorry. And then when somebody does go out of their way on purpose, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. When I mention these things from my childhood, I'm not saying that these are things that you should be harping on, but it is important to understand where your behavior comes from. It's not an excuse. It's just a realization, and then you move on from there. You get me? So do you apologize too much or not enough? Mary Ellen, too much. Corinne says, depends on who you ask. Linda says, just enough. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I will admit it. Larissa says, way too much. Eleanor says, not enough. Denise says, too much and to the wrong people. Megan says, too much. Sorry. Haha, very funny. Larry says, as I get older, probably not enough. John says, I also apologize for others. I've done that as well. Deborah says, too much. Connie says, sorry, too much. And also Christine, way too much. So I found this little article about how to stop over-apologizing. Instead of sorry, use these alternatives to make amends instead, such as, I take full responsibility or I was wrong. If something is your fault, it is helpful to admit your mistakes. You don't need to make excuses or give justification for why something went wrong. Recognize when you've played a role and own up to your behavior. You can say thank you for pointing that out. If someone brings something to your attention that you can change, you do not need to apologize repeatedly for your previous behavior. Thank them for giving you feedback and have an awareness of your actions in the future. Ask, how can I improve? Avoid saying things like, I'm sorry you feel that way, or I apologize for how I made you feel. You are apologizing for your behaviors, and those sentiments shift blame onto the other person's feelings. Yeah, that's a big one with me. I'm sorry I made you feel that way. I'm sorry you feel that way. That's not an apology. You can say my apologies or my bad. It depends on how formal you want to be, but making your apology a little more casual and friendly may help break down any walls that occurred during your misstep. And finally, how can I resolve this? When apologizing for something that may have been your fault, it's important to not sound insincere. Sometimes just a sorry can do that. But a different way could be, I heard I did something that hurt you. How can I resolve it? That's a big one. That's a big one. So there you go. If you are an over-apologizer, maybe work in some of those phrases into your daily repertoire instead. Moving right along to the blog post today, we are talking about habit coupling. That's right. New habits can seem so overwhelming at times. We expect so much of ourselves and get frustrated when we can't keep up. This is when we need to set ourselves up for success by stacking your habits on top of old habits. If you're looking to build a new habit, tie it to an existing one. If you want to start drinking more water, put a tall glass next to the coffee maker in the morning and drink it before you indulge in that morning coffee. If you want to incorporate more gratitude into your life, start a practice of doing it. As an example, as soon as you get to work, since you're already getting your desk organized and getting your day started, perfect time to just add that in. Put your gym clothes on the passenger seat of your car so it's the first thing you see when you leave work to go home. Instead of heading directly home, hit the gym. Or conversely, you could put your workout clothes in the bathroom first thing in the morning to remind you to just get in a 10, 15, 20-minute workout before you start your day. Put a big bottle of hand lotion on the sink so you remember to moisturize after every washing. I got to tell you, speaking of that, I have been moisturizing my hands so much this year, and it has made such a huge difference. My hands get really dry, and my skin starts to split, and that's so painful. I really, and again, we haven't had super, super cold yet. Couple of days, but not anything like ongoing. But my hands are so soft. They're like a baby's bottom. We have so many automatic habits that we don't even realize, like brushing your teeth, hitting the light switch when we go into a room, making that first cup of coffee, letting the dog out. Maybe you can take the dog for a short walk instead of letting them out. Get some extra activity in. Brainstorm ways you can build a new habit on an existing one. Even better, tie it to a habit you love. Do you love a glass of wine at the end of the day? Bargain with yourself that you can't have that glass of wine until you get 10 minutes of activity in. Or you can't have that glass of wine unless you're having a healthy dinner. In fact, only allow yourself the wine while you are cooking a good, nutritious meal. You stop for fast food on the way home, then no wine for you. Habit coupling and bargaining with yourself will go a long way toward success. Take some time to think about the habits that already exist for you and find ways to incorporate new, better habits to piggyback on them. The goal is to have an existing habit trigger the start of a new habit. It won't take long before you won't have to remind yourself of the new habit. It will be automatic. Automatic. Happy Hump Day, people. Take a little time to see what new habits will easily combine with old habits. Let's make things as easy for ourselves as possible. Am I right? I know I'm right. Now go on out there and be badass. I'm always here cheering you on.
Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist, hosted by Wendy McClure. For more inspiration, please visit Hopefulist.com. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Hopefulist.
Stack those habits.